Welcome to the Encouragement Conquers All podcast with Justin Fatica, the podcast for people who want to learn how to be the most encouraging person on the planet and enhance their encouragement superpowers. Now here's your host, Justin.
How's it going, everybody? We're back on the most encouraging podcast on the planet. It's a podcast with athletes, a podcast with leaders, people of influence, people that can help you to help be encouraged, stay encouraged, and not get discouraged in this thing called life. Life is a challenge. Life is not easy. Life is something that can push at us and pull at us, and it can make life miserable, and it can make life glorious and abundant. But I have an unbelievable special guest on. He's actually become like a close friend of mine. He's one of the more loyal guys I know. He's a guy that really cares about so many people. But I can tell you that I want to welcome him in the right way, to let you know that he is somebody that encourages and wants to build others up. Today, we're going to explore inspiring stories of different individuals who are game changers. This guy's a game changer. This guy is a game changer. And we explore all kinds of game changers. And you've heard some of them already, but this guy is definitely a game changer. And we're going to find out that he's a game changer in the basketball world. And not only a game changer in the basketball world, but the entrepreneurial world. This guy is a force to be reckoned with in the world of basketball and entrepreneurship. And his name is Ben Bellucci. You got to look him up. And he actually owns a basketball academy that he pioneers nationwide. And he has after-school programs. He has, AAU teams. He's been a coach himself. He actually is a personal trainer for guys who want to get to the NBA. He actually is a personal trainer for Omer Yurtseven, who's in the NBA, who plays for the Utah Jazz, and actually who I have gotten a gift to meet, who's another exceptional encouragement. Ben's journey, though, goes beyond the court. He goes beyond. He wants people to be better people on the hardwood and off the hardwood. And that's what he teaches the guys that are looking to go to the NBA. And I just like to, welcome my friend, Ben Bellucci, to the Encouragement Conquers All podcast. And you are one of the more encouraging guys I know, that's for sure.
Appreciate the introduction, Justin. You're the best, man. And it's an honor to be, jumping on this podcast and just having casual conversation like we always do. And, you're obviously a guy in the space who your whole life has been dedicated to helping people, encouraging people, and you're an inspiration to many. So, grateful to call you my friend and my brother.
Well, I appreciate that, but I want to really listen to you today, and I can tell we're going to actually start with share with me like the pivotal moments you've had in your life as you're a former pro player. I even looked you up. I didn't know about this until I looked you up. You were a model. This guy is a fluffy guy. He's a fluffy guy. He's a model, man. I've never looked at you like a model, but now I've got. Is this guy a model? You're a model example as a father. That's for sure.
I appreciate that. Well, the modeling thing, it's funny how it all came about. It came through basketball. When I was playing basketball in Europe, I was approached by a couple of companies and being like a local celebrity, like in Iceland, Romania, and Italy and stuff like that. They're always like, why don't you do some ads and this and that? And I'm like, I don't want to model, man. That's not me. But there was a financial opportunity and there was a way to connect with the community, which I thought was pretty cool. So one thing led to the next. And, I started to do a little modeling overseas and then I came back to the States and, continued a little bit on the side just because it just kind of flowed with what I was doing. So it was really cool. And I'll tell you what, I met some amazing people through modeling and through catering and, just doing different things in my life with opportunities that continue to come up.
Is that how you got your Is that how you got your beautiful wife? You said, come to my modeling show, and then she's like, Man, I don't want all the ladies. I don't want all the ladies to get to see
I
you.
would go around and just show them my Google pictures and say, hey, I used to model. That was my opening line. No, no, but no, it was a fun industry to be in for a little bit. But again, it just went hand in hand with what I was doing with basketball, so it was a no brainer.
Yeah, but share the most pivotal moments you've had. You know, as a pro player, as a model, even an actor. I saw as well. You were an actor at one time.
Yeah.
Before all the genius basketball stuff you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, so man, my basketball journey, when I look back, I just turned 40 this July, and I was telling somebody the other day, like I remember being like really serious about basketball, like 6, 7 years old. Like I just remember like wanting to really be around it all the time. And then when I hit 10, that's all I wanted to do. So basketball has been a massive part of my life since day one, pretty much. But the cool thing about basketball is all the amazing people I met through it. I can't name one person on my hand. All my best men at my wedding, my wife, everything that I've done in my life, all has to do with the connection of basketball and the people I met through basketball, which is, I think, the ultimate gift. Um, I share the story even how I met my wife. I had a really close friend in California. We played, he was my teammate in California, and we ended up playing pro ball and everything like that after our college careers were done. And when our professional careers finished, I said, his name is Boris. I said, where do you live, man? Like, let's reconnect. We've been all over the place, all over the world. And he's like, Grand Cayman Islands. And I'm like, Grand Canyon? He's like, no, look at a map, man. That's we're in the Caribbean. So I was like, you know what? Like, let's make sure we see each other, every single year, no matter what. And the second year I was there, I met my wife on the beach. But that basketball connection, I would never have went out there if it wasn't, for Boris and my relationship I built with him. So stuff like that has happened all along my life and my career. Even our relationship, formed through basketball.
Yep.
So I give a lot of credit just to, the big thing with basketball. I think that when you're younger, you don't realize is you love to play, you love to compete, you love everything that comes with it. But like when you look over to your left and your right, there's the same people that have the passion for the game, but you build the relationships, and that's forever, because basketball is going to end one day. But the relationships you build is, it's priceless. It really is. I don't think, if you're just playing basketball to be a good basketball player, like you're missing the main gift of the game. And I think that's something that I've really kind of, made aware to the people I've worked with and to the kids I worked with, and being involved with the game at a high level. It's like, this is all that matters at the end of the day. The money, the cars, the this, the that. It's nothing if you don't have, people you can talk to, and a support system if you're feeling down. I mean, it's huge, so basketball, when they say basketball is life, you hear the phrase, like it is life in the sense of the people you're connecting with and the life skills that you're getting from it. It's not like, you're eat, sleeping, and breathing basketball. It's all you do every day, and nothing else matters. That's not the gift of the game. So, it took me, it took me a short time to realize, like, man, this is powerful. Like, even basketball for me, it's took me to Europe to play professionally. I ran basketball clinics in the Philippines. I've been all over, different NBA arenas. I've been in conversations with some NBA legends and people, and so it's been a blessing for me overall. And then with my businesses, BBA, that's my way of like bringing the right people together and then connecting all of the life skills and everything through the game. So it's given me a chance to give back because of, the audience that, is attracted, and the clients that we're working with. So it's really been the forefront of my life. And, I'm really, really blessed to be around some incredible people.
Yeah, and what I love about you, like, I'm an entrepreneur, and in one case, you're an entrepreneur. In another case, I was talking to my dad yesterday on the phone, and he was saying, he goes, Justin, like you're one of the best entrepreneurs I know, because what you've done is you've taken what you believe in and what's important to you, and you've made it into an organization,
Mhm.
and being able to take care of your family and be able to take care of other families. And I see you as one of those people as well. Like, you've taken what you believe in, and people might look at basketball or your business or AAU or the NBA players you work with and go, oh, that's about money. But whenever we talk on the phone,
Yeah.
that's not what we're talking about.
No.
Even though we're working on projects where we joke like we're going to change the world through these and impact lives and be able to give more people jobs. So help somebody understand that. Like, how can you take business or entrepreneurship and make it your life, but not control your life, be more about life?
It's a great question. I was talking with someone the other day. I think entrepreneurship is the most competitive sport you could possibly do. It's a very, very, very ultra competitive thing. Like, you're trying to figure out how to connect the dots and build the business and how to keep it flowing and how to keep the cash flowing and blah, 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 everything that goes into it. And then you're thinking, how can I, and then in the same breath, you started your business because of passion, because this is a very lonely field to be in. Entrepreneurship is a very lonely place to be. It's not, you see all the stuff on IG and Instagram and Facebook and this and that, and they're putting private jets and flashy cars. Like, this is a lifestyle where, like, if you're not built for it, it's very, very stressful. It's very lonely, and it's you against basically like everybody in your space, and you're trying to find ways to innovate and be creative. But it's a really stressful but enjoyment of life when you could find, again, like your passion, you could turn it into a business. And it's very challenging. You have to be really, really patient in this kind of space of entrepreneurship. I mean, you probably have stories too. Like, when you first start, there's no money. Where do I go? Where do I start? What logo am I going to use? How am I going to get the right people to work for me? And then, it just starts building. But if you believe in it, and, you don't, the only way you fail is when you quit, and that's one thing that I feel like, if I can outlast, if I could stay in the game, if I could continue to push and build and build and build, like, I believe my big vision is going to happen one day. And, most entrepreneurs I know, we are big dreamers. Like you said, we're going to conquer the world. We're going to do this and that. Like, we really believe that, and if we fall short, guess what? Like, that's still great, because the journey for me, the journey is the fun part. It's not the destination. I mean, I know you hear a lot of people say, but the journey for me is like what gets me up in the morning, motivated by my kids and my family to, like, be more and do something great and have some sort of legacy that, that their father was helping other people out. And guess what? Yes, you want to make money. That's normal, but it can't define who you are. You can't become a slave for money. You have to have, like, your values and your ethics. For guys like, me and you, who are really, like, ethical guys, like, to get to where we want to be takes longer, because we're not willing to step on someone's neck to get to, the finish line. I just, so for me, enjoying the journey along the way and meeting the right people and connecting the dots and being in a place where I can control my own time, that for me is everything. Being an entrepreneur, I think that's one of the most things that's overlooked for probably, like, younger entrepreneurs. Like, they just want to get the flash right away. But when you're able to create your own schedule, to pay your own time forward, and to have, like, your own life kind of, dictated by what you want to do, like, and you can spend more time with your family, which is the ultimate goal, right? I mean, and that for me has been, like, the ultimate gift of being an entrepreneur. But the entrepreneur life is, like I said, it's highly stressful. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it. There's a lot that goes into your brain. And the thing is, an entrepreneur, as you know, like, it's 24/7. When you're watching the game, you're thinking, okay, well, what about the email I had to send out, or that text I have to do, or why don't I try to add this or get this person on board? Like, so, but I think, God puts people, in certain places and gives them certain gifts, to know, like, this is what my calling is, and I have to fulfill it somehow. Like, I don't know how it's going to work, but I trust in the higher power that it's all going to work out. So,
so what, like, when it's all said and done, like, what would be, like, success for you? You're 82 years old. You get the, God-given gift that you got to live that long. You're kind of slowed down. Let's not hope too much. You got only one cane, whatever. Like, what's success for you, Ben? What do you see?
Success for me, I guess, in the long run is just building something that has like meaning, it's a business where, I was thinking about it, like the cool thing that we're doing as a company is like, we're creating opportunities for kids to dream big, to be active, to stay healthy, to inspire. I think at the end of the day, like that's the ultimate goal, is that when I look back, I want my businesses to be all over the country. I want everyone to know who BBA is, but I want to know what it stands for. And that our mission is to inspire kids and to give them a place to go, and to, especially in today's world, it's more needed than ever, as like a positive environment with coaches. It's teaching them the sport, but they're like indirectly teaching them about life, and they're building their relationships, and, just the importance of that culture that kids are going to be a part of it is really big for me. So, when I'm 82 with two canes, like I want my
I said one. Now all right, you got two already. This guy's got two canes.
I want my kids to just say, like, I'm proud of what my dad stood for, and my wife, I want her to be, proud of what I did. And for me, and the close people around me, that's all that matters, is that they see like that we put something together that was, contributes to society. It's not just something, again, like you said, just to make money. So I think that's what it's all about for me.
And you say like you're you want your kids to be proud of you. What do you think of, I just talked about my dad. Like, what do you think, your dad thinks about what you're doing, what your mom thinks about what you're doing? What's your thoughts on that? Because I know for you, as you're my brother, we know each other. It's been a journey for you.
Yeah.
Even, just to be real, just to not, for me to be vulnerable. When I told my dad I was going to do what I was doing, he felt like I was wasting. For me, when I was 19 years old, saying this is what I want to use my entrepreneurial gift to do, he's like, you're wasting all of your gifts.
Yeah.
That was my journey, but you have your own journey. Like, what would you say your parents are thinking about what you're doing, and what are your thoughts?
I mean, so I think when you start a business, I think initially your parents are probably like, well, what is that? They don't even, they need to go to school, get their degree, and go get a regular job, So I think, I think it's hard to kind of like fathom in that sense. But my mother has been super supportive since I started a business. I started a business from her basement. You know what I mean?
She's one of my top 10 Facebook followers. I don't know if you know that. Yeah, I swear, your mom is like my top 10. Like, I look up, I'm like, wow, Ben's mom likes everything.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I ever felt like I needed an Italian meal, I'd come to your house, because like your mom
she's that type of person. She's always super, super happy for, just being in this space, and like being a part of because she was there from day one, like when I started the business. Like I said, I started in her basement. I was in my early 20s, and I just,
early 20s, unbelievable.
Yeah,
that's a true entrepreneur. Any of these young kids that are watching this, start now, right?
Yeah, you can start now. And the great thing about starting now is like, you don't need a roadmap. That's the crazy thing. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know my industry was not even a business. There was like one or two basketball trainers that were out there. I think the one guy, his name was Gannon Baker, and he was putting stuff online, but they didn't even exist. There was no basketball trainers. And it's funny, like in Syracuse, when I first started, there was myself and there was one other trainer. Now there's 35 to 40 of them. They're everywhere, They're
everywhere.
And it's funny.
And it's $1 trillion company. Youth basketball, I looked up the numbers.
Oh yeah.
Youth basketball is $1 trillion organization, like everybody combined.
Yeah, it's big money. And that's why it has a bad rap too, is because it's $1 trillion company, right? So a lot of the trainers, the coaches, the agents, they're all trying to figure out how to monetize off kids. And, that's where it does get a bad rep, to a certain degree. But, when I got in the space, I was like, I just came back from Europe, and I never forget, it was like storming out in Syracuse, like typical fashion. And I had
like yesterday, where I was saying my life sucks right now.
And some kid reached out to me, was like, hey, can you train me? And I was, close friends with, Coach Fine and Andy Rounds at the time at Syracuse. And I said, hey, I need a gym. Like, some kid wants me to teach him a few things. And I remember he actually jumped in the car. We drove up there and I trained him. And he loved it. And the next day I get a call from like 3 or 4 of his friends, and then I trained them. And then the next day I got a call from one of the parents, said, "Hey, do you want to run an after school program?" I'm like, "What's that?" To like come in and teach K through 5th graders. I'm like, okay. So then all of a sudden people are giving me money and checks to do what I love. I'm like, this is a business. And then, you fast forward, we're in this next summer, I think it'll be year 16 or 15, whatever it may be. And, we're going to be, I have 2 kind of separate entities, but they all fall under the same umbrella. But, we'll be in 6 different states. We'll probably see over 5,000 different kids. And, we're really just trying to bring something different to the table as far as like keeping the quality of what we do. Being well organized, that really goes far in today's world, especially in business. And just giving a good product and a good service is really important. So,
and you brought something up. It's interesting. Like when you love something, like people just start giving you money for it. That was the same thing that happened to me.
yeah,
like I was just giving talks because I wanted to give talks. And then all of a sudden, like they go, "Hey, here's $1,000." I'm like, okay, wait a second here. Like, it's okay. You don't have to pay me. Like I'm just doing this because I love it. And I think that's what we need in this culture right now.
yeah,
We need people to do something that they believe in.
yeah.
That's what you're saying. Something you believe in, something you're passionate about, and something that's good, for society. And so, yeah, you didn't get back to your dad though. What are your thoughts of where he's at with everything?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have the same name, right? So I think when he sees like Ben Bellucci Jr., Ben Bellucci Sr., I feel like there's a sense of pride there, and I feel he's got to be really happy because he was an athlete himself. He was a great soccer player, and broke some records as a goalie and stuff. Had a chance to go play overseas and never turned out. So I believe he probably sees a lot of himself in me as far as like, that's, like almost living vicariously through me in a way, and not in a bad way, So I believe he's really proud and it's something that when he sees, Ben Bellucci, somewhere on Facebook or wherever it may be, I'm sure those are proud moments, saying that's my son.
Yeah, and I know he's saying that because just yesterday when my dad, said to me, goes, when you were younger, I was like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
But now I go around town just like your dad goes around town, and people go, "Oh, I know your son."
Yeah.
And he go, and I just, this is what I feel on my heart for you is that if your dad or mom had nothing good in their life right now, like nothing good, they'd say, "Well, you know what? I have one good thing because it's my son Ben Bellucci."
Yeah.
And that's I think how everybody needs to live.
Right.
We've got to, you said something, honor your name.
Yeah.
Whether your family's been perfect or your family, my name in Italiano, it means fatica. It means work until you get tired, work hard, So I'm going to tire you out. I'm going to tire everybody else out. Right.
Yeah.
But the point is that like our name has to mean something. And what do you think what does your name mean?
You'll like this because, this is what I was told. It means, It means beautiful.
Oh, you're the model over here.
When I was living in Italy, everyone would come up to me like, "Oh, come Monica Bellucci," and so, my family, my dad's side of the family is huge. There's 14 kids. There's over 50 first cousins. It's just massive Italian family. So everywhere I go, someone thinks they're related to me, or maybe we are.
Because they believe they're beautiful.
When I was in Italy, it was weird because I was staying at this seaside called Fatica Beach, Fatica. I lived in Tuscany, but it was like a couple hours away. And we were staying at this like Airbnb. And next door, I walked outside and out of the mailbox, it said Bellucci. And so I met these people coincidentally, and I was like, that's the same spelling as my last name. And I said, we were talking. I said, what does it mean? He's like, listen, your name, the best last name. It means, that means beautiful. So, after that, it made sense.
I'll tell you what, I always wanted my last name, but now I want your last name. That's for sure. We got some great Italian names. They actually have, Oh, go for it.
No, I said we do. We have some great Italian names. That's we're lucky, man. I love my last name.
No, but like, so like what, you say like the values that your business lives by. I think
Mhm.
a lot of times people forget that. They kind of like throw that to the side. I think that's something you haven't done. I personally want to thank you because when I went through a rough time in my life, the
Yep.
dream is to build a gym. We have a whole docu-series coming out on the gym,
Mhm.
and the hopes to build one and the dream to, really be able to use basketball as a vehicle to impact lives and encourage lives. And then also for me, most importantly, I just wanted to coach my son's team. And so the basketball business it's been ruthless to me. I know you'd say the same thing for
I
yourself.
told you from day one. Remember, I was like, "This is crazy." You're like, I was like, "Listen, I'm telling you," and you're like, I remember you called me a week later. You're like, "Man, you, you were right. I didn't think it was this bad, but it's
It's rough. And
unfortunate."
I think, but any business, don't you think that it's going to be like that, whether it's
Absolutely.
distribution for nuts and bolts or
Yeah.
basketball or faith or, the schools,
Yep.
but something that I've learned that our values and the values that I live by, which is being authentic, being courageous, being a man of integrity, they fit with your values. And that's why we've been able to create a brothership that we don't lose each other. Even if you're like, what did he just do over there? We just talk to each other real quick. We figure it out
Sure.
and go, oh man, I messed up there. Or maybe I should, do this. So share what your values are in your business and then give people insight on not waste something that you've taught me. I've watched you do this. Don't waste time. And I think it's a very important lesson for young people starting businesses and anybody in business. Don't waste time on people that don't have the same value system as you. Share a little bit about what your values are. And then how do we not waste time with people that are just not in our values bank,
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's a great point. Great question. First off, like I learned a lot from my Uncle Joe. He's a very successful guy in the construction business, and he's done really really well. And the one thing that I've always watched him from a distance is he's like super 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 ethical, and he has a chance. He's got a lot of power, in many regards, and he always does the right thing. As far as like just being ethical, and that's something that I give him a ton of credit. I learned so much about business from him on that side. Just I don't want to like the big thing is I don't want to sacrifice my ethics for success.
What does that mean? Because for somebody, because in our culture right now, relativism is a big deal.
Mhm.
It's like, hey, what's right for you, Ben, might not be right for me.
Right,
What is the ethics that you live by that are because when I say ethics, I mean they're non-negotiable truths
right,
that you live by.
right.
What would you say your non-negotiable truths are?
Um, I think the big thing is like, for example, if like just a small example, like if I'm trying to start a new program or work with a new school, and I know there's another company there that's been there, I might respectfully reach out to that person and say, is there, how long have you been at this program for? How long have you been at this school? Do you plan on being there? Yeah, I'd love to eventually do this program as well. Like I would give them like the courtesy of a conversation and communicate.
Yeah, yeah,
Just as
okay.
something as small as that. You know what I mean?
Respect,
Yeah.
respect it.
Yes. Exactly. For me,
The golden rule: do unto others as you'd have them do unto you.
right. So respect is a huge factor, and I know the thing is like I know everything that goes on in my stuff in my business as well, like in all my locations, and I always make decisions based on what I think would be right. I don't like to do things behind people's back. I don't like to not communicate to people before doing something. I'm not going to crush somebody because I want to make more money. I'm not going to steal a kid from a program because I think he'd be better than my program. Like I think there's rules that you have to just abide by that. In most industries, I think there's only like a small percentage of people that would have just some sort of, like you said, respect to get on the phone and just discuss something with somebody in your same field. And again, everyone wants to compete. There's competitors. It's always going to be there, but there's a certain way to do it. I wouldn't go and just copy and paste someone's website and put all their programs on mine and say it's mine. For me, that's super unethical, and it's happened to me a handful of times. So
So how do you not, something I think I did,
mhm.
and I'll admit this, out of wanting to do good and be noble and virtuous, I like wasted time striving to help or work with people that really didn't fit
Right.
like what we
Sure,
valued.
sure.
And how do you you don't want to go destroy people, but yet you don't want to waste time. So how do you know the difference?
I think you have to go through it. So I into I don't know if there's really a wasted time unless you repeat that same kind of thing over with the right. I think you learn from the situation, the people you want to get involved with, and everyone's fair game until they show you that they're not who they say they are. And then after that, that's when you have to pivot and say, like, I don't need to waste any more time with this person.
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, business and relationships are about trust. And when you break that trust, it's really hard to get back. So I think listen to your intuition, your gut. You kind of know, especially when you've been around for a long time, that, your gut is saying like, hey, this person's okay. Or like, there's some red flags here. Let's be careful. And you're just kind of checking them, I think that's been my greatest gift is reading the room and having a strong intuition with people. So if you don't have that, learn from your mistakes. It's checks and balances, right? You're figuring out who's doing what. If they're keeping their word, you're always keeping an eye on people and to see if they are who they say they are. And guess what? They're going to make mistakes and stuff like that. But you have the conversation again, and you could correct it, like you said earlier. And then if there's still the red flags, then you say like, okay, like I'm not wasting my time. It's next, because time is the most precious asset in life. And when you realize, you just feel it, right? You've had those situations, Justin. You're like, man, something's wrong. I'm not going to call back, or he said this and now he's doing this. What? And then they just disappear, or you say like, what's going on? And then you just say, okay, I got you, And that doesn't mean they're a bad person or it's a bad situation. It just means they're not aligned with your vision and your focus. And that's
Yeah, and I think that's what I want to hit home on. You've got to align with people that have, the same. You're about respect. That's why I'm about integrity.
yeah,
So if you were to call me out, I'd be like, oh yeah, I messed that up.
yeah,
Hey man, how could I make that up? How could I do better?
yeah,
How could I be a better, brother and keep that trust?
yeah,
And that, I think trust in any work is essential.
yeah.
And you build that trust. And how do you do that? You build that trust by giving people opportunities, because I think some people don't give people opportunities.
Yeah. I
They
think,
don't allow people a chance. And I want to thank you. Look, I'm in the basketball world. I assistant coach. I coached a little bit for about 6 years, and then COVID happened, like that time off, and then I jumped into it, and I saw how crazy the basketball world is. And then you've really been a brother to me, and walk with me, and I really love where it's headed,
yeah.
and what we're doing, and our relationship, I hope, is an example for younger entrepreneurs, younger leaders, in business, in nonprofit work. And something you've helped me with is, me, I strive to not like charge anybody for anything.
Right.
Like I like want to put all our money into
Right.
helping. And yeah, of course, yours is a business, but yet you've always strived to like, hey, how can I help Justin do this?
Yeah.
So that he can help as many kids as possible. And you've really always been like that. Why do you want to give back? Why? Because I really believe giving back, I call it dying to self, dying for others,
Mm-hmm.
but like, why is giving back so important? Like for anybody in business or, in any organization.
This is a great question. Look, I came, my stories, I came from, the city. I'm a city guy. Didn't have much money, didn't have much. Basketball was my outlet, and I was the kid who couldn't afford to go to camps and to get, sneakers. And I did, my parents tried their best and I obviously did a few of that stuff, but, it was really hard growing up because, like I said, I mean, financially wasn't there and just the situation in itself. And
how many pairs of sneakers did you have growing? Like now, even when I go, some of these kids have 10 pairs of sneakers.
One maybe. I would wear. I had one pair of sneaker, and I remember I sometimes would buy them. If I was a size 10, I'd buy a size 12 so I could have them another year or two, or I would double or triple sock them until I got to that place.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
And I remember I was rocking British Knights back in the day and
Reeboks,
and I couldn't even, I couldn't afford the Jordans and stuff.
Did you have the pumps?
I had the pumps. I had all that.
You had the pumps. Those were the best. The pumps were the best.
Oil, yeah, from White Man Can't Jump. I was rocking those, trying to touch.
D Brown, baby. I don't know if you remember D Brown.
Slam dunk champ, yeah, of course. But that was the cool thing to go back to. That is like, as I started getting more success on the court, I started attracting the right people in my life. And there was this one coach, Coach Fine, and I, like when times are really rough, like he was always there to help me out through every situation, education, financially. Like he was just like that guy who was like, hey, I got you. Like let me help you out. And I didn't know what that meant because I never had anybody like that in my life. I was really kind of on this journey by myself. My parents had split in high school and then basketball just became everything for me. So when I was at a vulnerable stage in my life, I had a really good mentor like Coach Fine come into my life. And, he stuck with me all the way till I finished out my pro career. And there's a lot of great stories I have with him helping me out, but I never forget the main story, is at the end of my pro career, I called him and I said, Coach, you've helped me out in certain situations financially. You've helped me out with networking. Like, how can I ever repay you? And he said, Ben, just pay it forward. And that was my ultimate life lesson. I was like, wow, what does that actually mean? So then when I started my business right after that, I remember that was kind of my mission, is like, pay it forward. So like I started training a whole bunch of kids for free. I was getting donations from Nike, getting sneakers for kids. I was scholarshiping kids. We were helping kids. Honor and I were helping kids bring, kids over from Europe, and we were helping them get into school, getting scholarships for $500,000, like Division I scholarships. So for me, that became my kind of MO, is like, how can I help the kids who were in my position coming up? And that was kind of the inspiration. I mean, it sounds like a very basic kind of story, but
it's Bellucci. It's Bellucci. Bellucci. It's a Bellucci.
Yeah. So that was the big inspiration, is just giving back, man. And then, at the end of the day, all this stuff, this material stuff, it doesn't mean anything. It's nice to have, but if you don't have your core family and your group and the people around you, life becomes boring. I want to, like I always said, like if I billionaire tomorrow, like I want to be a billionaire with all the close people in my life. I don't want to do it by myself. Like that's not what it's about. So, paying it forward and understanding that that's more valuable than anything that you can do in your life. It's so rewarding for me, even still. So, that's kind of like, how my journey, my path was, my destiny was kind of created.
Yeah. And I want to say that I've been thankful for that. And, really like all the lives that we're touching, and, people are starting to hear about, I've just, as jumped in the basketball world because I got thrown into it. I believe by the big dog upstairs. He threw me into it to be. I'm a basketball market disruptor. That's what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
I'm bringing encouragement. I remember on two tournaments ago, this director of the tournament look, he's yelling about encouragement. I don't know if that's what he's like, telling people they're amazing. I don't know why you have a problem with that. But I guess in the basketball world, sometimes they have a problem with encouraging people.
No. People don't understand. Like I remember the first time you came to Miami, and we were in the elevator, and there's just this huge guy, and Justin just looked at him and goes, "You're amazing!" And he looked at Justin like, I'm about to smack this dude. And then he's like, "No, you are. You're a great father. You're a great brother." And all of a sudden he's like, thanks, man. And he just left. But that's, the thing is, I know that's who you really are, and you
Yeah.
really do want to be a positive force to people. And that's really, I don't know anybody like you like that. So I think that's amazing, man, and give you a ton of credit, but that's who you are. And
Well, you've been a big brother, in that, and I appreciate your encouragement. And really, that's my goal, because for me, you know, I've seen a lot of suffering,
yeah.
and so because I can't say I was the kid you were. I had that mom and dad there every day,
Mhm.
and I was taken care of
Yeah.
in a financial way. But guess what? When I got thrown into this world, I didn't know 50% of our country, over 50% country, didn't live with their biological father. I didn't know 35%, you know, want to attempt suicide. I didn't, to be honest, I learned that through like experience and through meeting people and when I started finding out, whether it was basketball, whether it's through speaking to crowds, writing books, I'll do anything
Hmm.
to let somebody know they're amazing. And you have been one of those people that just walk with me. And I also want to encourage you on how the one thing, when we first started talking was you want to be a great husband and father.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that about you. Me and you, every time we talk,
Yeah.
there'll never be a conversation
Right.
that we don't go, hey, so how you doing? How's your family? How's your kids? How's your wife? Is your wife okay?
Yeah.
What made you like so convicted about that? Is it because you had an example that you saw, or is it that you want to do better? You know, pay it forward.
Mhm.
What's the reason?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, just to be transparent, like I learned from my parents' situation. Obviously, they split, like I said, when I was in high school, and then I started to see like the world kind of, overall just kind of taking a decline with just like parents being around and this and that. And for me, that's like my number one goal, is to like be the best dad I could possibly be the best husband. For me, there's nothing else that matters. Like if you don't have that family and that core, it's really tough. Like I don't know, like that's my life. That's what gets me up every day. So um, it's a little bit of everything. It's to try to like rewrite my own, story of where I came from, and what I want to accomplish as like a husband. And then it's also just um, I want there to be a connection with my kids, where when I leave one day, they feel like, man, I really had a great dad. Like my dad was the best. Like that's all I care about. So there's it's just trying to again, me and you are guys who always beat the odds, and I think we're in that small percentage of people who just have a different perspective in life. And I want to and triple down on who I am, and of being just a family man, because that's something that I frankly just never had that strong connection throughout my life. So that's my motivation and drive behind everything. Is like I learned from that, instead of saying poor me, and trying to find somebody just to be with them. And it's, for me, I want to have an amazing life with my family. Then that's all that matters.
No, and the best part of it is I might mean nothing to everybody out in the world, but to JoJo and to Mary
Yeah.
and to Catherine and Rocco and Dominic, you know, and John Paul. Like I mean everything to them. It's the same thing for your kids, and I think we've lost that. If I
Yes.
were to say one of the greatest ways you can encourage the world is go home and love your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go home and hug them. Go home and care for them.
They said the best gift you can give your kids is to show them how much you love your wife in front of them. And I
Oh,
and I thought that
I believe it.
that was really cool. That was because I thought about that, because subconsciously they're watching everything. You can tell them, don't do this, don't do that. At the end of the day, they're watching. And if they see that there's something off there, then, and I want to change the course of their life going forward, because if something's off there, they're going to subconsciously look for that partner or person in their life. And we failed as parents if they're end up looking for the wrong person, so to speak. I mean, guess what? It's going to happen. Everyone's who they are. They're their own individual. I'm not saying that that's the case, but if you can try your best to be the example in the house, I think that, that's something that can stay with your family forever, is because your son, especially, is going to try to copy what their dad is doing and who they are as people. And so, every day, when you feel like taking a day off or a second off or a minute off, like, you're held accountable all the time by your kids watching you. And that for me is like super special. It's
Bellucci. It's Bellucci.
it's a
You see that new quarterback, my buddy? I spoke to him 3 times. Tommy DeVito. You gotta look this kid up for the Giants.
No. Oh
When he
no, I
scores it,
saw you had something with him, right? On
yeah, he at Don Bosco Prep. I spoke to him
okay,
2 years ago.
okay.
But he plays for the Giants and he's been scoring touchdowns recently. So every time he scores a touchdown, he goes.
That's awesome.
But what you're saying is this. I don't want to lose this,
No,
but this is important. This is important for everybody to hear. My buddy came up to me. He goes, "Look, I don't know what to do with my wife." He said, "My kids love me. What about my wife doesn't love me?" And I said, "Look, you can be a great husband." I says, "You could be a great father and a horrible husband."
Yeah.
But it's impossible to be a great husband and a horrible father.
Right.
And I think we've kind of flipped a route, because even when I say to my team, my older guys, "Come on, be a great father," they're like, "Yeah, I can do that." But when I go be a great husband,
Right.
it's like they just shut down. It's like, man, I want to bang everything, or I want to like do wrong, or I want like, for whatever reason, like. And how do you balance that? How do you be that great? What are things that you do to be a great? Because I know you're a great husband and you desire that, because I know that by your consistency of speech, and I know that by your consistency of effort. So what are things you do just to encourage your wife?
I think I'm lucky with me and her. We just, I think the biggest thing that she's always said to me is, she's like, "You just let me be who I am," and that's really important. I don't feel like I've ever tried to mold or change that person. I fell in love with the person who I'm still in love with now. So like, for me, that was really important, just to just naturally just kind of let her be herself. And then making her a priority. She knows I have a crazy schedule and I'm super busy, and without her, I couldn't do any of this stuff, because she's holding the fort down. She's taking care of the kids and the house and everything, and she allows me to just be the caretaker, the provider of the family. And for me, that's really special. It's I always tell everyone, like, when you find the right person, you really have to marry your best friend first, because if that friendship is not there, it's really, I don't think it. Some people just marry just to get married, right? I'm in love, I want to get married, but because they think it's the right thing to do. But if you don't have a foundation of friendship, it's really hard, I think, to keep it sustainable and keep it fresh and going. And you go through so much changes in life, like, what was our life pre-kids and now with kids, and what's going to be like without kids. You grow together, and I think that's really special. But for me, I'm really lucky. She's, I always tell her,
she's your best friend.
Yeah. I mean, I just making, what it's like I said earlier with business stuff, it's communicating and having a level of trust. I mean, it's still the core values that go into your household and into your business. I think that's huge. And you can see if there's going to be any detour in that with the way things happen and the way people respond to certain situations. There's always going to be ups and downs, but you always go back to your core, and your core is what you create in your house, and it's what you create with your family. And that's something that, I think it lasts forever, so it's just communication and making her a priority, and understanding with our crazy schedule that she's still number one.
Well, that's beautiful. And, I'm right now, I've got this new book I'm finished up. It's all on encouragement. Like that, my goal, I don't care, like, what your belief system is. You deserve to be encouraged. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I believe every person on this planet, when they meet you, they should feel and believe that they're better off because they met you, even if they're the worst guy ever.
Right.
How do you think right now in this culture with so much division, so much separation and war and strife and, lack of commitment, how can we be an encourage? Like, what would you, if you had to pick someone, how can we be the biggest encouragement to the world right now?
I think just continue to do what we're doing, being ourselves and continue to inspire through our businesses, through the people we're connected with, because even, better than anybody, you making one comment or a conversation with one person who's in the elevator, that could change the course of their day, the course of their life. They could make them think like, no one's ever told me I'm amazing. No one's ever, thought about me in that way. And that is powerful. People don't realize the power of just loving somebody and encouraging them. Like you said, even your worst enemy, that's the toughest part. And that shows you how genuine and sincere you are to your word, if you can really do that. And it's not easy. So to answer your question, I think, we're in a situation, right, Ben and Justin, where we can inspire thousands and thousands of people because of the business that we're in. I think it's just continuing to be ourselves and doing the right thing. And, obviously social media and having a platform to build a bigger audience to see who we are when the docuseries comes out and the books and all that stuff. I think, we're in a situation where that's an easy question to answer. We just keep being ourselves and keep getting better with it over time, and build our team around us to have the same vision and the same foresight as well, is going to be sustainable long-term, as forever.
Yeah, and I think you heard it all from Ben Bellucci. I mean, it's get your priorities straight. That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Put your wife, make your wife the most important gift in your life. Make your kids so important that they know that you mean the world to them. What he's saying is you can, the same thing you do in your business, you should do with your family. The same thing you do in your family, you should do in your business.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying, Ben, is be authentic.
Be authentic. Some of you guys heard before, there's only one of you. It's really hard to be somebody else. So if you have to every day wake up and, think you have to have this facade and show the world that you're tough and you have money and you got a car and this and that, that's a lot of work. I have so much work to do. That's way more work to try to be somebody I'm not. I'm really good at Ben Bellucci. And, I know where I have my weaknesses. I know where I'm not strong. And that's the thing is, I would say, for the listeners, like, being self-aware is huge. It's lacking in this world. People think they're this and they're that, and they got to be somebody else. I know, where I'm really weak and where I'm really strong. And I think that's what's made me successful is I try to stay in my lane. I'm really good at being me, like I said. And I think, and being honest with myself, I know I can't, like, for example, in business, I know I'm not good at math. I need a bookkeeper. I know that I'm not great at operations. I need a logistic person. I need, who you met, with Gabe and Colin. Like, I'm not good at that stuff. So, and in life, like, where I'm weak, I feel like, God, the universe, whatever you believe is put the right people in my path to help me. Like, there's the things that I lack in my life. I always have the right person. I'm like, oh, I can call so-and-so. I can call my Uncle Joe. I can call, so that, like, again, that goes back to building a strong core of people, with your family, then outside of your family, who you consider a family. I think that is true success for me. And that would be my ultimate thing at the end of the day, is just the people who in my life, they just say, Ben was a great guy, and he's done a lot for people, and he really cares for people, and he is who he says he is. For me, that's everything, is just being, again, true to myself.
And I think another way to encourage people, something else I've seen you do really well, is cheer people on. Mm-hmm. You've really cheered me on through all these different visions. You probably were thinking, is this guy really going to do this?
No, not me and you think crazy outside the box. So it's
yeah. So then I fly out to Miami with, the whole crew, and you're like, oh, here he is.
No, it's great.
Something that you've allowed me to do that I want to thank you for, because I think sometimes we don't allow others to cheer us on, because we like to, like guys like us, we like to love others, and even maybe those listeners like to love others. But one way you can love others, and this is something I've allowed you to do in my life, even though I'm even a little older than you, like, I've allowed you to cheer me on. And what I've been loving to do, I love cheering you on. You've got this Omer Yurtseven guy. You've been working. How many years have you been working with this guy? He's playing for the Jazz.
Yeah, about 8 years, and it kind of goes back to, like, I had him since Europe. When he came over here, he was, here by himself in America, foreign country. And, we just kind of, I said to him from day one, like, I'm with you on this journey. Like, whether you make it to the NBA or you end up back overseas, like, because and I still do, I see a lot of myself through him. Because I see the same kind of, ebbs and flows, the ups and downs. I see the struggle he went through and all that stuff. So for me, I've always had a soft place in my heart for him because I just see so much of myself in him. So yeah, and then, his career was, crazy. He went multiple colleges and went undrafted. He went to the G League, and during the whole time, I was with him. We started off and he came to Syracuse in the off seasons. I was in Maryland with him during COVID for the NBA pre-draft stuff. And then I moved to Miami, and then he got drafted in Miami. And now, just recently he's in Utah, and he said, "Hey, like, I need you, brother." And, me and my family said, like, we're with you. So, it's a special bond. It's a really cool relationship, and it's a really cool situation to be able to go to the games and everything like that, and to be around the NBA. But the more cool part of our relationship is, like, my kids look at the TV and they're like, "There's Uncle O. There's Uncle O." My wife, and for me, like, how cool is that? They have this inspiration, this guy who's in the NBA, but they have no idea what that means. They just love when he comes over to the house and he's playing with them and throwing them in the air, and that for me is kind of, what we've been talking about, is like building this community, this small community of people who have, the same vision. So I guess the overall message, the more that we're talking about, is like, man, it's the right people with the same vision as you. No matter how hard it gets, again, you're always going back to your core of people. And, that's really hard to find in today's world. So when you find it, like, you need to squeeze and hang on to that thing forever, and understand you're going to have days with your really close people that, something happens, but you deep down always know who they really are. And that, I think, is really important. Again, is following your intuition, to know really who's coming into your circle. Because at the end of the day, as you get older, and you can attest to this, is like, you have kids. So you're like constantly thinking, like, who am I bringing around my kids now?
Right.
That's who they're going to learn from, So, yeah, I mean, my life has been, I've had a lot more downs than ups. But for me, that's what made me get to a certain place in my life. And that's what made me who I am. And I would never, ever want to change it. I don't have any regrets. I know people say, yeah, you got to have some. I don't, because I think everything happened in your life to get you to a certain place or protect you from something. If you're like, man, I wish I had this or that or this, that, your whole life could be completely a different story right now, So, and the other thing is, and I know you like this, is just, you got to keep fighting. It's the whole Rocky thing. Like, how many times you get knocked down,
You got to keep getting
you
up.
keep getting up. I mean, if you don't fight in today's world, especially today's world,
You're going down.
you're staying down. So, being a fighter, being relentless, and being ethical, is really, what I lay my head on at the end of the day. And just, my loyalty to people who I love and trust. Like, I mean, I don't try to tell them that. They feel it, they know, So, I think that's really important for me, is to be a man of my word, and to stick it through, no matter what I say, and it's going to get done.
Well, this is Ben Bellucci right here, and I'll tell you what, he's been a big encouragement today. And I can tell you, he's beautiful. They'll just tell you by his name. I'm going to be messing with you for the rest of my life now. Just so you know. I'll be like, that's my favorite thing you've ever told me about you.
That's hilarious.
But for those of you who don't know, Ben's one of our many guests. He's an NBA trainee, but most importantly, he's a father. He's a husband. He's a guy that wants to do better for this world. And like my 105-year-old grandmother, who many of you have listened to, like she says, don't be a nuisance. She says, don't be a nuisance. Justin, don't be a nuisance. You make this world better because you were born. Let me tell you something, Ben Bellucci. This world's better because you were born.
Appreciate
And
that.
and your mother believes that. The only reason your mother loves me is because she loves you. So just so you know, I always know how much people love me by how much their mother loves me.
Yeah.
So if you ever say, I don't like you anymore, I'm like, you're a liar.
You're a liar.
You're a liar. Your mother loves you. Deep down, you love me. You're just hurt because I let you down.
That's
man.
great, man. No, but thank you too, Justin. Like I said, I mean, our relationship has been great. We've had a similar past, and we've had, when I remember a few of our conversations, you're asking me, how should I do this or what should I do with that? And I always said to you, like, don't stop being you, Justin. That's something that I was attracted to as far as, our relationship building is like, you stay true to yourself and you think outside the box, but you've always done what you said, and you've always stayed true to your word, and that's really hard to find. So I appreciate you, and you're a special guy, and it's great to know you, brother.
Hey man, we're gonna keep it going, and let's impact a lot of lives in the process.
Yeah, we will.
So hopefully everybody had fun today, and we'll see you on the next time. And where can they all find you, Ben? To go look at online. You want to find?
They go to Instagram at BBA315. That's where we have a lot of our stuff, and our website's BBA315.com and BBAafterschool.com. If you want to see some of the businesses that we're doing, and our involvement with kids and community. But if you type my name and you find a picture of an old modeling picture, please do not send it to me. So. What,
you got no clothes on or something? What are you doing?
No.
I better not. I better not. All of a sudden, Ben pops up. I'm like, dang it, I'm in trouble here. He's getting frisky.
No, you won't find anything like that. But my friend, I did like this funny, like, I did this shoot for like I don't know, some Christmas hoodie, and it's got like the Grinch on it, and I got this old funky hair, and I still get like on Amazon, like I'm wearing it. It says like buy 5 for $20. I still get my friends sending me that stuff every once in a while.
I'm next time you come on the show, that's what you're gonna see. And you're gonna have some Italian old lady like smooching it, like.
I love it, man. I love it. Fun, man.
I love you. We'll keep it going. But Thanks, everybody, for listening. Be ready for next week when we have another guest on. It might be my grandma coming after you, so watch out for her.
Thanks for listening to the Encouragement Conquers All podcast with Justin Fatica. Make sure to subscribe and follow to be notified when the newest episodes of the podcast go live. You can find contact information and important links in the show notes. Stay tuned for the next episode.